we doing, guys? Today I'm going to be making the kind of cheese grater mesh. I think it's quite a nice mesh. Yeah, I sit next to one every day at work, and yeah, it's just something that's interested me. It's quite nice to look at aesthetically, and I thought I'd give it a go, see whether I could model it and whether I could learn anything from that. So yeah, hopefully you guys can learn something new, and I'll see you there. Just before I get into the tutorial, I'd just like to let you guys know that I do have a set of online assets that you can download for free right now over at my Gumroad. The link is in the description, so looking forward to seeing what you guys think of that. At the moment, it's mainly mockups. I've got some texture packs in there, and I'm going to be moving onto 3D assets soon. So that's 3D models, textures, potentially even plugins. And yeah, you know, this is all just to help elevate your work. Also remember to go check out my Instagram, follow me at A3House, A5House on my personal account, which is nblowy. Looking forward to meeting you guys over there.
Yeah, today we're going to be modeling the Apple cheese grater and mesh. I think it looks beautiful. I've not really seen any kind of casing like it on the MacBook Pro and the Pro Display XDR. I think it's a great, mesh to look at. We'll just drop in a reference image first. Here's our mesh. As you can see, there's kind of a hexagonal distribution going on with a central sphere, and then that's just copied across, almost like a, alternating thing going on here. So yeah, you can also see kind of equilateral triangles alternating. But yeah, so to get a perfectly hexagonal distribution, we can add a plane, which basically just acts as a container. So if we go into geometry nodes, selecting our plane, clicking new, we can just delete this, and if we just turn that, and if we add a circle mesh and just make it 6 points, and if we just scale this up until that's roughly about at the center, let's go 1.8. No, we just want this roughly to be centered, so I'm gonna go 7.4. I'm also just gonna make this reference slightly transparent so we can see what we're working with. It's good to see that this is actually snapping to a point. Okay, so we've got our kind of distribution and we have our cube. So if we go into modeling, yeah, we need a kind of quadded sphere, so all the topology is nice. So an easy way of doing this is just selecting our cube and then just hitting Command 3. If we go out of edit mode and hit Command 3, we get a quad mesh sphere. But if we look at it, it's not perfectly spherical. So we just want to apply the modifier, go into edit mode and just hit A, go into vertex mode and do Shift Alt S. And this is just going to scale it to a sphere. And here you can see we've got, a complete transformation. So this can be our reference, and this is what we can actually instance on these points. So if we go back into geometry nodes, and if we just center this here, we actually instance that sphere on the points. So instance on points, we can just drag this over and instance that geometry on those points like so. And we just want to make sure we can see it. So if we bring our reference back in, we can see that this is decent, but it's not perfect. If we go in here and just make this 1, so that's 1 meter, that's locked into our grid nicely, and just apply that transform, and we can just kind of scale reference down until that's nicely centered about there. And then we can just bring our radius down, and just going into X-ray view, we can see that that's about right. Okay, so what we can do now is, if we realize our instances, we can actually apply this modifier now. So that is now a true mesh. So now we have our kind of baked geometry. We just want to join these together, but we're just going to duplicate this for now because we're going to use that later. So if we join these together, we have our nice geometry. So what we're going to do is just do Shift D and holding down Control, we're just going to align this roughly between these 2 points. So we can probably hide our geometry here, and we just want to roughly center this. And then the same here, just roughly center it in kind of the best way we can. So we have these edges here, which we can also use as a guide to help us just place stuff correctly. Okay, so we have some sort of molecular structure going on here, I guess. So what we want to do is this is what is going to be cutting into these. So we're just going to bring this down, hitting G, Z, and then holding down Control. That's going to snap to our horizon line. So now we can apply a Boolean operation. So if we go into our modifiers and generate a Boolean operation against this one here, and then we can hide that, we can see that we have mesh, which is pretty good. It's good enough for the tutorial. Obviously, you know, you can spend a bit of time getting this perfect. So yeah, I'm going to apply that, and yeah, I'm going to hit apply. I'm just going to be focusing on the central point, but obviously you can see that we get variations, and yeah, to create the actual kind of Pro Display XDR or the Mac Pro, you'll need to do every variation, but I'm just going to be focusing on this central wall for now. So yeah, we're just going to be getting rid of all of these ones. So just hitting L and hovering, we can delete the vertices, which just gives us this. So if we actually go into edit mode, we can see that the topology is pretty messed up. So we're just going to need to clean this up. So a way of doing that is just selecting, hitting M, and then just collapse at the center. So we just need to be focusing on one side. So I'm just going to be focusing on the left hand side and just getting that perfect. And yeah, we can go from there. So if we just collapse these at the center, so at center, select all of these at center, and then just we go all the way around. Another way we can do it is if we hit GG, that's just going to edge slide our points together. But you'll need to make sure that you are not messing up the geometry too much, and that we have kind of equal points along here, or equal distances along here, and that it's an even number. So if we go up here into our statistics, this is going to just give us some information. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 12 vertices, which is going to give us 24. So just making sure that every kind of exterior has a point that it can go to, every exterior edge kind of thing. So that side is sorted, and now we need to do this entire circle. So we want to get it to something similar to that. So just again, selecting everything, merge at center, merge at center, I select everything and hit merge by distance, and that's remove 4 vertices. Just as we go along, we just want to make sure we're doing that. And yeah, just either edge sliding, or we can kind of join points up by merging at center. So we just want to go into edge mode and just select these all the way around, and then just check how many edges we have. So we have 20 on this side, and then on this side you have 10 edges, so that should be good. Okay, so at this point we just want to make sure we are selecting the correct side. So if we go into edit mode and just bounding box and go a Y 180 and just flip this around, so we can see our cleaner side is on this side. So if we go into X-ray view by hitting Alt Z and deleting all of these vertices, selecting all of these vertices and going on the 3D cursor pivot point and hitting SX0, that's going to align everything to this Z axis. Then we want to hit A, Shift D, right click, SX -1, and that's literally just going to mirror everything. If we hit A and then Shift N, that's going to correct the normals. Then we can go A, M, merge by distance, and we have a perfectly mirrored topology. So our topology is a little bit cleaner, but there's still some issues. Obviously it's not a perfect circle, which is what we want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of these edges, just so we can select the actual outer edges a little bit easier. Sorry, so select these faces. Probably should have done this before I mirrored it, but you know, we can easily redo that. So just deleting the faces, and then on this side, again, just selecting all of these faces. So delete the faces, and then we're just going to repeat that process. So delete faces, select all, Shift D, scale X -1, A, Shift N, and then merge by distance. So just checking our geometry, we seem to have a bit of an issue here. I think that's because we have a polygon, an n-gon sort of thing. So now we just want to double check all our points. So 20 vertices, and then on this side we have 20 vertices, which is great. So anywhere where there's kind of a lot of tension, we just want to hit K and then just make sure everything's a quad. So just dissolving the edges wherever there's an issue, and we can just kind of relieve the tension a little bit. We can hit K and just join these points and just relieving a little bit of that tension. So when there's something like this, we are going to have to create an edge loop along and then join that to another triangle to remove those tris that we just dissolved as edges. Now we've got quads, and we can just follow this along a little bit. So we have another triangle here, so we're going to have to connect this edge loop here to dissolving edges just to make sure we've all got nice quads. There's another quad here, so we're just going to connect this triangle up to this triangle. So just selecting that edge and deleting it, selecting that edge and deleting it, and then once again doing that over here. And it looks like we have a triangle here as well. Is there another triangle that we can connect this to? Looks like we have one there as well. So if we connect this here, we can get rid of that triangle, and then just pulling this out a little bit. Just making sure that we've got similar face areas everywhere. So just kind of spreading our points to distribute the tension a little bit, and just making sure that there's a similar amount of area across all of the faces. And we're just going to do this all the way around, just making, keeping an eye on certain areas where there is actually a triangle, and just seeing if we can link up another triangle. So it doesn't seem like we actually have any triangles here. This is a little bit uncomfortable to look at, so we're actually just going to connect this up here and get rid of that edge, and we're going to connect this up here as well to get rid of that edge, and we can do it along here as well and get rid of that edge, and then following stuff along. So I think this is all right for now. Obviously you can just keep adding and fixing all of these triangles out, until you're happy with what you've got. I think that's all right. When you actually subdivide a triangle, it does turn into a quad, so that's something to consider. It should be all right, I think this is okay. I think we can just clean up this topology a little bit in certain areas. There's a polygon here, so we just want to make sure that everything is connected nicely. Okay, there's no real right or wrong way of doing this sort of stuff. You just have to kind of get a feel for it and make sure that all of your topology is okay. Okay, one or two triangles here or there is okay, as long as it's not too sharp. I just want to remove all polygons or n-gons. Okay, I think that's good for now. So we can just do the same process. Shift D, Rx -1, A, merge by distance, Shift N, calculating all the normals. So this is where we're going to bring back our sphere. I'm going to hit Command. I'm actually going to save before that, so we're just going to quickly save. Okay, we're going to do Command 3 and then apply that. And then the same process again, select everything, Shift Alt S to make that to a perfect sphere. And we're going to use this as a reference for current geometry. So if we select Boolean geometry and then a shrink wrap deform and then use our reference, it's going to mean the topology and our shape is correct. And then we can start to turn this into circles. So what we want to do is in our preferences, we want to add a add-on called Loop Tools, which is just going to allow us to get perfect circles. So we can now apply a shrink wrap modifier, and then it's just about repeating the process and just cleaning our topology up a little bit as we go to make sure there's not too much tension in areas. We just want to make sure that these edges are roughly kind of normal to the vertices so that there's not too much kind of smudging going on in the topology. Like so, the longer you spend doing this, the better your topology is going to be. This is just going to be kind of rough just for the tutorial, so you guys get the idea. I don't want this tutorial to be like 5 hours long or even an hour long. So yeah, I'm just doing it kind of rough and ready just so you guys get the idea. And yeah, I'm just hitting G just so everything's nice. Okay, we're in the same thing over here. G. And again, focusing on getting fairly decent topology, spacing. Obviously, this is a tricky geometry to work with, so Gonna keep that in mind. But there's a couple tries here, but it should be all right. Okay, so we can again just double check that all of our circles perfect. Apply the shrink wrap modifier. Didn't really notice much movement, but I'm just gonna duplicate. Looks like we have an issue here. Scale x minus 1. Scale the x. Scale x 0. Scale x 0. We want to generate a shrink wrap deform using the reference again, and we want to make sure that these are circular whilst being aligned to the center. I'm gonna apply that and just generate another one, making sure that this is perfectly centered again, and the same thing here really. Scale, just going along here, making sure this is all aligned to the world origin, and then these points here we can just bring them up a little bit, cleaning it up. I'm going to use this as our reference, making sure that these are all circular. Again, just mirroring, merge by distance, shift N. Okay, and then one more time. Yeah, no movement there, I think we're fine. So this is our kind of semi-complete topology. We now need to tile this on a surface. So if we go into X-ray view and then just delete these, and we just need to know how many vertices we have, and we want to convert this into a circle as well. Can again just quickly deform this and then apply. So we have 32 vertices. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a circle, and we're just going to scale this here. And yeah, just on one side, we're just going to be bridging. So we're going to go edge, F, F, and then just selecting the two edges all the way across. I think there is a much quicker way of doing this, but this is what I'm doing. If you know the quicker way of doing this, please tell me in the comments. That would be really helpful. You can go to 5 for an orthographic view, which might help you select things a little bit better. Okay, we've gone too far. That's fine. So we can just delete these now. Just delete all of the vertices, and we can do Shift D, scale X minus 1, A, merge by distance, and then correct the normals. So if we go back to our reference, so by this point we should have our kind of initial sphere, I guess. If we generate a subdivision surface, we just want to double check that everything is okay with this. There's no kind of problems with the sub D. We can generate a solidifier modifier. That seems to be behaving okay. So if we go there first, and then generate a bevel. Yeah, that's shade smooth. That's pretty much perfect. There's a couple pinch points here and stuff, but you're not going to be able to really notice that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So we can get rid of all of them, and then we can just shade flat. So if we bring our reference back, we just need to kind of duplicate these, and we need them to snap into the grid. This is the kind of important part, that we snap this into the grid. We need to make this tileable, so things need to lock into place really well, like this. And we just want to make sure that these are centered down this line here, as this is where they actually will line up correctly. So we want this line going all the way up along here. Yeah. Okay, so we can now join these. I'm actually going to save one of these, and I'm going to join these, and then I can hide this one here. So just hitting Command J, you can join them like that. And yeah, we just basically need to fill these in, and we're just going to be going around, making sure everything's filled in. You can see we've got an equilateral triangle here, which I guess is how you know that it's fairly correct. Again, I'm pretty sure there's a better way of doing this, but this is how we're doing it today, guys. So duplicate it. Okay, so it looks like we've got something here that we can do from here to here. So right, that is what we need. So we're gonna have to make line from here to here, and then in here we can just get rid of that to make it a quad. Yep. So from there to there, getting rid of those edges, and then selecting these and scaling on the Y a little bit to release some of that tension. So selecting all of these points and then just scaling on the Y. So it looks like we don't need these edges, or we need these edges to actually go all the way. So we're just going to do that again. This is just going to help the topology be a bit cleaner when it connects. That's okay, you know. Again, just merge by distance, just double checking, and then selecting all of these points here, duplicating them and bringing them over. We don't really need these here. You can delete those vertex. So there's a gap here, but it looks like it compensates over here. And then if we just get rid of these as well, press L, and then we want to separate by selection. Okay, so we can hide everything, and we want the, how do we do this? We want to set origin to center mass for the surface, and then we want to the selection to cursor. Okay, we actually want this point to be, so the selection cursor to selected, and then we can set the origin to 3D cursor, and then we want the selected to world origin and the selection to cursor. Okay, so now we can just basically duplicate this in a grid, and we are now getting the desired look. And that's basically it. Once we join that and merge by distance, we're getting the look we want, you know. Join a merge by distance, and that's the kind of initial mesh. You can just hit save, generate a solidify, something like that, maybe a bit more, and then we can generate a bevel of 3 points, and then we can generate our subdivision surface. So this is basically it with a one level of subdivision. Obviously, if you zoom in really close, you can see that there are, you know, visible edges. So, you know, you can whack this up another if you want, you know, if your computer can handle it. So the bevel of 3 of 0.1 mount, and yeah, you know, this is it really. Yeah, I guess just let me know how you found it, you know, whether you found this helpful and you learned something. Yeah, my computer's about to crash, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Cheers.